Shin and Kyogai have fought side by side for damn near the entire story, pretty much around 800 chapters. Their synergy and chemistry has gotten to a point where it goes far beyond just both of them being really strong. I want to talk about their complementary styles, Shin's tenacity and Kyogai's finesse. It is no surprise by now that Shin's greatest ability is his tenacity. From the start of the story, he has shown on multiple occasions the ability to fight on and on, despite losing so much blood and eating blow after blow. He is what we would call in the gamer world a tank. Against Saji, Shin lost so much blood to the point that he couldn't feel parts of his body, and despite tanking yet another blow that cleaved into his shoulder, he won the fight because of his tenacity. The ability to keep fighting will always prevail. Against Gyoen, Shin is tanking blow after blow from someone whose brute strength rivals that of Gaimo, and not only does he keep eating them, he is able to return one just as powerful, if not more. Maybe his real strength comes from being a man, just like Gyoen mentioned, rather than pure martial might. Against Hoken, Shin had quite literally his most impressive display of that tenacity. There are moments where Shin is on the ground mumbling to himself, barely conscious, and he gets back up anyway. Blow after blow, 1 second he's on the ground, another he's fighting for breath, another he's taking a blow from Hoken again, another he's on the ground again. Repeating this legendary feat of tenacity over and over, it is why all of this culminating in Shin slaying Hoken of Xiao's three great heavens, that it is truly his greatest ability. He is through and through a tank. Kyogai's greatest ability, on the other hand, is her finesse. Everything she does is so graceful. It almost looks too easy. Whether it's the way she handles a sword, whether it's the way she moves, or the way she thinks. She is what we would call in the gamer world a DPS, or the damage dealer. In their very first duel, Kyogai was toying with Shin. In her first attack, she cut Shin so fast that everyone did not notice that she only cut his clothes. For much of the fight, Kyogai didn't even need to use her sword to dodge. To put the cherry on top, when Shin tries to use his newfound sword thrust, Kyogai makes a fool out of him, landing on that very attack that Shin regarded as his hidden ace. When Kyogai finally decides to fight back, it is completely one-sided. A huge clue was Kyogai not weighing anything when she jumped on Shin's sword. She's all about finesse and was able to swiftly outclass Shin at every turn. It is this duel that sets the precedent for their contrasting styles. She is a DPS constantly kiting, while Shin eats every single one of her strikes and still stays standing. We can go to the sparring session after Kyogai comes back. Again, the same thing happens. Kyogai chooses to parry every blow while focusing on dodging and looking for openings. She's even able to land a quick strike during one of her parries. While this tells us a lot about Kyogai's finesse, it also acts as a more dramatic and ridiculous display of Shin's tenacity. Shin is able to will his wound shut after Kyogai cuts him. We can go to their sparring session right before Kokyo heals. This duel specifically serves to give us a more dramatic and ridiculous display of Kyogai's finesse, whereas we saw previously it was focused on Shin. Kyogai is going nuclear in terms of speed and finesse. Her ability to dodge, parry, and strike Shin in succession without him being able to do anything but parry and block is nothing short of inhuman finesse. What more would we want from our damage dealer, our DPS? As long as she doesn't get hit once, she's fine. But one fatal strike is all it takes for Kyogai to then be in trouble. This is where Shin comes in, with his ability to take multiple of what should be fatal strikes. It is because these two adopt completely different styles that they actually have come to complement each other very well. The most glaring example would be where Shin pushes himself to his limits as his first resort, fighting on willpower alone. Kyogai relies on her agility and balance to try to dodge attacks as much as possible. Shin will welcome the challenge head on, while it is Kyogai's preference to use her insane speed to try to end the fight before it begins. The best thing about the Shin and Kyogai combo is that very rarely do these two need to verbally communicate in battle to succeed. The trust between these two is like no other, and such trust gives birth to a timing that cannot be replicated by anybody. It is because they trust each other so much that it always feels like they both arrive at the perfect time to help each other. It is a connection on an emotional level that exceeds everybody else. this, we can go to the early parts of the story, the Battle of Baiyo. Right before continuing forward, Kyogai casually eliminates the enemy captain before hopping on Shin's horse without needing to say anything. Shin doesn't even bat an eye at Kyogai doing this and accompanying him on his horse afterwards. It's just normal for them to be covering each other's blind spots and fighting together even on the same horse. We can go to the middle of the story, Tokyo Hills. It's fitting that Kyogai just happens to arrive at the perfect time. That is and always has been the running theme. When Shin needs her the most, she will show up when it matters. Here, she saved Ten's life when Shin was caught up fighting at the front. Kyogai's wound is still bothering her, but that doesn't matter. Seeing Shin fight despite being in worse shape means that she'll keep on fighting. It's cool constantly seeing the trust between them to perform at a higher level. Sometimes Kyogai doesn't fight with finesse, and instead she is thugging it out just like Shin. After her duel with Ryuto, she has zero strength and has lost all her breath. But Shin, of course, arrives at the perfect time. It's this back and forth trust dynamic that births greatness. We can go to the later parts of the story. Xiao's retaliation, the first thing that Kyogai does when she breaks out of Riboku's cage is head straight back in. This isn't without thought. Shin, still stuck inside, again uses his unmatched tenacity to open up a path before suddenly stopping. Xiao thinks it's because Shin hasn't got anything left, but they could not be more wrong. He just knows that no matter where, no matter when, he and Kyogai always have each other's back. They always act as one. This is where Kyogai's finesse comes into play once again, eliminating the Xiao commander blocking their way in a single strike, thus opening another path outside Riboku's cage by capitalizing on Shin's effort. Shin even catches Kyogai when she runs out of breath. We can come to the current part of the story, the conquest of heart. If we thought before in the other moments, Shin and Kyoko were in sync without using any words, this time they silently manipulate each other's momentum and prowess to completely destroy Han's defensive general. Kyogai starts off super aggressive before running out of breath. It's okay because that's the plan. She said that Shin was the decisive blow. Turns out that's the back and forth dynamic coming into play once again. Kyogai comes in shortly after Shin's charge stops, giving the Han army no time to recover and build morale even with these temporary victories. They stop Kyogai, then stop Shin, only for them to have to stop Kyogai again anyway. This chemistry of theirs is so annoying and is the reason why they're dicking down Han. Will they go down as the strongest duo in all of Kingdom by the end of the series? Is this already the most dynamic duo in Kingdom right now? If you guys made it to the end, thank you for tuning in. It would mean a lot to me if you guys left a like and a comment, share this video with a friend, and subscribe for more videos like this.